Once upon a time in ancient Greece, there lived a hero named Heracles. He was the son of Zeus, king of the gods, and a mortal woman named Alcmena. Now Heracles was a great hero, strong and brave and handsome, but he also had a big problem. You see, Hera, the goddess of women and wife of Zeus, wasn't too fond of Heracles. In fact, she hated him. Why? Well, because his father Zeus had a history of getting women pregnant, and Hera did unlike being left out. So when Heracles was just a baby, Hera sent 2 giant snakes to kill him. But little Heracles, even in his infancy, was no ordinary baby. He grabbed those snakes by the necks and squeezed them until they died. And that's when Hera decided that she would make his life a big, fat misery. As he grew up, Heracles became a great warrior, and everyone praised him for his strength and bravery. But Hera made sure that he never got any credit for it. She put thoughts into his mind that made him do terrible things. And then, when he came back home, she made him forget that he had done anything at all. In other words, Hera made sure that Heracles would never become a hero, at least not on his own. But then one day, everything changed. Heracles met a man named Eurystheus, who became his king. Eurystheus wasn't a bad king, quite the opposite. He was kind and generous and loved by his people. But there was one thing about him that really annoyed Heracles. You see, Eurystheus was a descendant of Zeus's brother, Hades, the god of the underworld. And because of that, he had a big ego. I mean, just look at this guy. Look at him. He thinks he owns the world. And then one day, King Eurystheus sat on his throne and said to himself, "You know what? I am bored." So he looked around for someone to entertain him, and his eyes fell on Heracles, who was standing nearby with a group of soldiers. "Hey you," he shouted, "I want you to do 12 labors for me." Now, Heracles wasn't stupid. He knew that King Eurystheus was just looking for an excuse to humiliate him. But he also didn't want to disobey the king. So he said, "All right, but if I complete these labors, will you make me king after you?" "No way," said Eurystheus. "Don't even think about it. You are just a servant, and that's how you will remain." Heracles was furious, but there was nothing he could do. He was just a servant, after all. So he set out to complete the 12 labors. Now, what were these labors, you ask? Well, they were tasks that had already been assigned to Heracles before, but only as rewards for completing difficult quests. Eurystheus thought that he was punishing Heracles, but he was actually giving him gifts. And Hera, of course, was behind all of this. She had put these thoughts into Eurystheus's head. Anyway, the first labor was to kill the Nemean Lion, which was almost impossible to do. Its skin was impenetrable, so normal weapons couldn't hurt it. But Heracles strangled it to death with his bare hands. Then he skinned it and made himself a cloak out of its hide. Next, he had to clean King Ajax's stables in a single day. And this was no easy task, since the stables hadn't been cleaned in 36 years, but Heracles did it anyway. And when the king saw what he had done, he was so impressed that he offered his daughter's hand in marriage to him. But Heracles refused because he was already married. Now, Eurystheus was furious when he heard this. He wanted to punish Heracles even more. So he gave him 3 new labors, even more difficult than the last ones. These labors included capturing a giant bird called a stymphalion, bringing back the golden apples that guarded by a dragon, and capturing a wild bull. These labors were impossible to complete, but Heracles managed to do it anyway. And that's when Eurystheus realized that he had made a big mistake. Heracles wasn't just a strong and brave hero, he was also humble and kind. And in the end, it was Eurystheus who became his servant, and Heracles, the great hero that everyone knows him to be today.